3. God is a universal spirit. God is spirit. He is a universal spiritual presence. The universal Father is an infinite spiritual reality. He is the sovereign, eternal, immortal, invisible, and only true God. Even though you are the offspring of God, you ought not to think that the Father is like yourselves in form and physique because you are said to be created in His image, indwelt by mystery monitors dispatched from the central abode of His eternal presence. Spirit beings are real, notwithstanding they are invisible to human eyes, even though they have not flesh and blood. Said the seer of old, Lo, he goes by me, and I see him not. He passes on also, but I perceive him not. We may constantly observe the works of God. We may be highly conscious of the material evidences of His majestic conduct, but rarely may we gaze upon the visible manifestation of His divinity, not even to behold the presence of His delegated spirit of human indwelling. The universal Father is not invisible because He is hiding Himself away from the lowly creatures of materialistic handicaps and limited spiritual endowments. The situation rather is, you cannot see my face, for no mortal can see me and live. No material man could behold the Spirit God and preserve his mortal existence. The glory and the spiritual brilliance of the Divine Personality presence is impossible of approach by the lower groups of spirit beings or by any order of material personalities. The spiritual luminosity of the Father's personal presence is a light which no mortal man can approach, which no material creature has seen or can see. But it is not necessary to see God with the eyes of the flesh in order to discern Him by the faith vision of the spiritualized mind. The spirit nature of the universal Father is shared fully with His coexistent self, the eternal Son of Paradise. Both the Father and the Son, in like manner, share the universal and eternal Spirit fully and unreservedly with their conjoint personality coordinate, the infinite Spirit. God's Spirit is, in and of Himself, absolute. In the Son, it is unqualified. In the Spirit, universal. And in and by all of them, infinite. God is a universal spirit. God is the universal person. The supreme personal reality of the finite creation is spirit. The ultimate reality of the personal cosmos is absonite spirit. Only the levels of infinity are absolute, and only on such levels is there finality of oneness between matter, mind, and spirit. In the universes, God the Father is, in potential, the over-controller of matter, mind, and spirit. Only by means of His far-flung personality circuit does God deal directly with the personalities of His vast creation of will creatures, but He is contactable, outside of paradise, only in the presence of His fragmented entities, the will of God abroad in the universes. This paradise spirit that indwells the minds of the mortals of time, and there fosters the evolution of the immortal soul of the surviving creature, is of the nature and divinity of the universal Father. But the minds of such evolutionary creatures originate in the local universes, and must gain divine perfection by achieving those experiential transformations of spiritual attainment which are the inevitable result of a creature's choosing to do the will of the Father in heaven. In the inner experience of man, mind is joined to matter. Such material-linked minds cannot survive mortal death. The technique of survival is embraced in those adjustments of the human will and those transformations in the mortal mind whereby such a God-conscious intellect gradually becomes spirit-taught and eventually spirit-led. This evolution of the human mind from matter association to spirit union results in the transmutation of the potentially spirit phases of the mortal mind into the Urantia realities of the immortal soul. Mortal mind, subservient to matter, is destined to become increasingly material and, consequently, to suffer eventual personality extinction. Mind yielded to spirit is destined to become increasingly spiritual and ultimately to achieve oneness with the surviving and guiding divine spirit, and in this way to attain survival and eternity of personality existence. I come forth from the Eternal, and I have repeatedly returned to the presence of the Universal Father. I know of the actuality and personality of the first source and center, the Eternal and Universal Father. I know that, while the great God is absolute, eternal, and infinite, he is also good, divine, and gracious. I know the truth of the great declarations, God is Spirit, and God is love. And these two attributes are most completely revealed to the universe in the Eternal Son.